Hey everyone, welcome to Powertime. Let's have a listen to what's on today's show. Kind of what we were talking about earlier in the year. So we've seen all that this year, right? So I think next year is going to be really interesting because we're moving from a world where AI is experimental to customers now going, show me the return on investment, show me the use case, and let's really lean into it. So it's kind of like a maturity model. So, and if quantum drops, to your point, Matt, Nathan, we're going to see stuff that we never thought possible before. So, that's going to be a really exciting time.
So you like my prediction?
Well, I think that's a bit more specific on how that would happen, but yeah.
Let's get into it. It's power time. Get ready, let's go.
Here with my co-host, Matt Noble. Matt works for NCS. Matt, couple of words. How's your week been? AI tour. Super excited to be at the AI tour with you and get some great photos, which hopefully everyone's seen on our LinkedIn post.
Yeah, I love the AI tour. I'm a big fan. I love catching up with everyone. We had a special guest. We had Justin Graham visit the shores of Australia. So always great catching up with Justin and a fellow fan of Powertime, actually fellow attendee of Powertime. So I just recovered from AI tour because walking around and speaking and seeing everyone, I basically did nothing this weekend, but just catch up on some sleep and my life and all of that. But it was great seeing these two gentlemen also AI tour in Nathan and Brent. So yeah, as always, it was a really great event and it was great catching up with everyone.
So we have our special guests on today who are going to join us for the whole show, Mr. Nathan Backers and Mr. Brent O'Toole. So Brent's kind of famous at the moment for his feedback. He watched one of our episodes and it happened to have a video snippet. It was the Ryan episode. So the feedback, I was expecting something really meaningful, what we can do better on the show, how we can improve things, perhaps, what guests we can get on board. Brent's feedback to me was, your headphones are a little big. So that was quite funny, Brent. So I will get slim headphones just for you, mate, just for you, because you are correct. Now I'm paranoid about the size of my headphones, which are
they do look pretty big, Scott. I'm on Brent's side here. Now that I've noticed that
big.
Once you see it, you can't unsee. That's what I'm seeing.
I'm waiting for the album to drop, Scott. That's what I'm really waiting for, like your musical talents to come out.
It looks like he's directing a Qantas plane like this, into the shore. So that's a Qantas plane.
So yeah, well, now I'm paranoid about that, especially considering we're looking at video. So maybe Brent, Nathan, just do a quick introduction for those who don't know who you are. Brent, maybe you go first.
Yeah, no worries. So I'm Brent O'Toole. I'm a technical specialist in Scott Meetings' team. I've been with Microsoft for about 2 years. And before that, I was floating around in partner land for a bit, doing some consulting for FedGov. Also worked with Matt Noble on the pod as well. So I worked with him in a past life. And before I did consulting, I was a marketing manager for that partner as well. So I've had a bit of a really weird career, but happy to be on the pod. And it's good that you've opened it up, Scotty. Let's get into it. Hey.
Yeah, well, it's awesome to have you on board. So Brent leads our marketing and sales in our team. So with his marketing background, he knows a lot about that technology and how that works and how our customers use it. So be first time on the pod, Brent. It's obviously the second time on the pod for Mr. Backers, a friend of the show now. So Nathan, quick intro in case no one watched our previous episodes or listened in.
Thanks, Scott. I feel a bit naked here without any headphones on compared to the rest, but I need to find a size that can fit my big noggin before I can do that. But I've been on the podcast second time on, been at Microsoft now for 3.5 years. I'm a technical specialist here at Microsoft for low code or Power Platform. And joined from Telstra where I led their Power Platform practice there 3 odd years ago. So thanks for having me on again.
It's awesome to have you guys on the show.
Yeah, Nathan, you had a busy week. I saw you up on stage at the AI tour. Do you want to kind of tell us a bit about that? It's kind of blown up on LinkedIn as well. You look like sort of Satya Nadella doing the big spiel or someone like that. So what were you talking about there and maybe what were you presenting as part of that event?
Before he gets into what he was presenting, perhaps, Nathan, you have to talk a little bit about how you got there and the 2 a.m. demo prep that you had to do the day before, which was quite unexpected.
Yeah. So I got there and there must have been a bit of miscommunication leading up to the event. And I realized that there was a demo that I was meant to be doing that I hadn't done yet or hadn't prepared for. And probably the most important piece of it, which was Copilot Studio Agents. It's the hottest product we got right now, pretty much across Power Platform. So yeah, the night before I had to spend most of the night building out that demo. And yeah, it was quite an experience. Unfortunately missed out on the team dinner with Scott and Brent, but that's all good. The room service was good enough anyways, but yeah, it went fairly well. I was pretty happy with how the actual presentation and demos went. I was a part of Richard Riley's session, which was about Power Platform and AI and low code. We also had Accenture join, which was with David Ludlow as well. All in all, the session was really great. I think it was the 5th highest attended session of the entire AI tour, which was really good. It's a bit deceptive in those big rooms when you've got, 5,000 seats and they're not all full. So you're not really sure on how many people attended, but yeah, it was really good just to showcase some of the new products or the new features like Plan Designer and AI Recorder. And, AI Recorder even got a little bit of a round of applause after I demonstrated that. So there's a few people that were keen on it in the audience. And it's the first time I've been involved in something like that since when I was at Telstra and presented at Ignite in 2019, pre-COVID. It had the whole green room set up at the back and all the production teams, and it was pretty full on, and you have to go in there and get makeup and all this kind of stuff. So the first time I've got to experience that since 2019. So it was probably one of the few events that I got a little bit nervous for. But yeah, all is well that ends well.
Yeah, awesome, Nathan. I didn't know you had makeup on for the
do we have enough time to talk about this? We're going to join that in a bit more detail, or is that all good? But that's a fantastic achievement, mate. Like seeing you up on stage was, you should be really proud of yourself as part of that. Now, is the reason you avoided doing the demo was to avoid the demo gots before you prepared? Was that part of the pre-presentation in deflecting that demonstration the day before, or?
Yeah, maybe they didn't have enough time to sort themselves out and work out how they were going to ruin it for me. So yeah, it was good.
No. And I guess, Brent, what was your kind of highlight? You go.
I was going to say, it goes to show, Matt, that even the most well-run, slick events by Microsoft still don't always go to plan, and there's still heaps of demo mishaps and things that we have to do to get that show on the road and on stage on time. So yeah, well done to Nathan for putting in the effort that he did. It was huge that night, and while he was doing that, Brent and I were enjoying a steak, so kind of seemed a bit unfair.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
Rub it in. Yeah. And Brent, were you on the booth at the AI tour? Was that part of your role? So talk about being a booth boy.
A booth boy, yeah. Second year on the booth. A bit different this year. So normally, I'd be on the Dynamics 365 booth, but they shrunk that this year. So I was on the Copilot Studio booth, but very topical, lots of customer conversations. I think I got 3 hours into my shift and I was already running out of breath and a bit exhausted, but had to keep punching through and going to get some more cups of water just to dry the throat up, wet the throat up a bit. But yeah, it was a really good day. Lots of good conversations with customers. Everyone's really keen and interested in agents and what they are within Copilot Studio. And obviously that's going to be a very topical thing as we move into next year and our topic for today. But yeah, it was really cool. Great event. Always good. Customers were happy. Met some of my customers, which is pretty hard to do at a 6,000 people event. And I got to connect with partners like yourself, Matt, and a couple of others that were floating around, but there's still plenty of people that I didn't even see as well, which was a bit hard to get around with everyone, especially when you're on the booth as well. But it was a good effort by everyone.
No, completely agree, mate.
I was shocked how many people actually turned up. I thought, last year was a big event. This year seemed definitely larger. I don't know. What do you think, Matt? I mean, it was definitely the keynote was in a bigger part of the state of the ICC building. So, and pretty spectacular. Got some great photos from what was right up the back, and it was really, really interesting what Judson had to say about agents and the future of AI and where things are going, I thought. But I think what was really interesting was having Matt, the CEO of CBA, on stage talking about how they're using generative AI and Copilot Studio to transform their customer experience. So that was a project that came out of our team, so which was great. It was awesome to see customers talking about how well they use the technology.
Yeah, it's always good hearing from customers. So as Mitch Allison was chatting about how they've adopted sort of M365 Copilot. We're doing some stuff with them at the moment, which is pretty cool as well. So watch this space when it comes to that. But again, I love hearing from customers because then we can have further conversations with customers that we're working with as well. So really enjoy that aspect. And my highlight was probably the demo that we saw about that sort of agentic experience, the voice coming back, multilingual, and the fact that they were able to render specific products on a portal just from speaking to them. That was kind of the the highlight. And I can't recall the person that did that particular demonstration, but that's got me really excited for next year about some of the cool solutions and this whole concept of intelligent applications that kind of align to that vision that I can see and where the technology is going. Scott, I think me and you were spoken about that particular demo, but again, what were your thoughts on that one?
I thought it was great. It's kind of the second time I've seen that demo now, which for those who didn't see it, it's an agentic experience transforming kind of the way that we interact with web pages. And the idea is, can we use a Copilot-like experience to drive the content that you're going to see on the page itself? And in this case, it was shopping for, I think it was camping stuff and things
Camping
like this.
equipment,
Yeah, camping equipment. So it's like, hey, Copilot, I'm going camping in July at such a location, what do you think I need? Oh, it's going to be cold. You should think about this jacket, that kind of stuff. And it just appears, let me show you that. And there was another new element to the demo I hadn't seen before, which was it produced a whole summary of a whole bunch of different products that you should use on that camping trip. And I thought that was really good. It's really changing the way that customers interact with AI and with their e-commerce sites. So looking forward to seeing how that plays out next year. I mean, it's just a different way that we interact, and Copilot is becoming that front door to AI, or the new UI for AI, which is really interesting, which really sits well with what Ryan was saying about the launch of intelligent applications and power apps and things like this. So I thought that was really interesting. But yeah, the AI tool was just a great day. It was good catching up with everyone. That's why we do that stuff. A lot of energy, felt my cup was full, and all the rest of it at the end of that. But mate, we're going to talk a little bit before. So I brought the boys on today to talk about predictions. So we want to talk about what we think is going to happen next year. And the reason we do this at the start of every year or the end of every year is so our friends and channel partners and everyone out there who's looking at how they focus around skilling with their people, or perhaps what they should talk to customers about, or perhaps even they're setting up a brand new startup, what they might want to focus on next year. So hopefully, I mean, we're not the gods of technology, but hopefully, the insights that we get from talking to customers for an entire year, talking to the product team, the engineering teams at Microsoft, having a look out there what the general landscape's like, hopefully some of the predictions that we come up with informs the rest of the community on what they should really focus on for a year. And what I found really, really interesting this week is a whole bunch of AI stuff dropped, which is really meaningful. There was a great 60-minute special I saw on YouTube of the new ChatGPT vision interacting with, creating kind of body parts and, doing a lot of learning and teaching people around, hey, draw this body part, and was able to recognize that. So we're really seeing, how the vision side of things and ChatGPT on a mobile platform can really start to interact with the real world. I thought that was really interesting this week. We also saw a whole bunch of new models and things drop as well.
Sora.
From the Sora was actually I'll hand over to Brent, because Brent sends me this message on Teams and he goes, "Have you seen Sora?" And and I've gone, I've got to check it out. I didn't even respond, I just went straight on to check it out, and what an amazing tool. But Brent, you've had a week of playing around with Sora. What do you think of it?
Yeah, I mean, I've had a week of probably, I'd say, lightly abusing Sora. So I've been uploading photos of my awesome dashhound, Doug, just photoshops of like him in Paris and him in different places. And essentially, I've uploaded the photo to Sora because you can't, they've got some good, safe AI practices on the platform at the moment. You can't upload people and faces and human images, but the dogs seem to be fine. So I've absolutely smashed it and gone through some credits with putting my dog into Sora and making him move and walk around and doing some cool stuff. So yeah, it was pretty crazy. Like my jaw absolutely was gobsmacked when I started playing around with it and how real it all looks. I've asked it a couple of other things, design this scene, and it looks impeccable in terms of like just the quality that's coming out of it. And yeah, I've got to keep reminding myself it's only version 1 of this tech, right? Yeah. Like it's going to get better over time. And yeah, the limit for my subscription with the OpenAI guys is obviously not the $200 a month one, but I might burn through all my credits, but it's going to get a lot better. And 5 seconds, 10-second videos at the moment, like hang on, wait out until, we've got a minute of ground footage that you can use for B-roll and all that sort of cool stuff that we're going to see. So I thought it was really cool. And we're in the middle of Shipmas as well, is what a couple of other pods are calling OpenAI's 12 Days of Christmas. So I'm eagerly hanging out for tonight for another feature to drop. We'll see what that is. Apple Intelligence dropped last week, so I've got the latest iPhone, and I've been using that, and that's been pretty wild. And you can link it up to your GPT subscription with OpenAI and have an embedded experience there. So like it's really shaping up, and it's all dropping before the end of the year. So predictions for next year are going to be really interesting if we're getting all this new stuff before the end of this year.
Yeah, that's awesome. I should call out also that the reason there's an elf on the screen for those, if we release the video, for those that see the video early next year, is because I'm doing Elf on the Shelf, and the elf is doing a elf cast at the moment. And my daughter has told me I'm not allowed to remove the elf. So it is stuck on the microphone and I'm staring at it. But Brent, you've got a dog named Doug. And Matt, you have a dog named LeBron. And I think both of these dogs are the same breed. So we should get these dogs together, maybe on Sora, and do a joint video and see what it looks like.
I'm glad I got my headphones in.
They can. Yes.
I'm glad I got the headphones in, because when you're talking about taking your dog to Paris and France and all this kind of stuff, my dog just goes to the park. So you might have got a bit of FOMO hearing all this kind of stuff where you're taking your dash out, because my dog walks to the couch to the park, and that's basically it, and sleeps all day. So he's definitely lazy. But yeah, I'm very much looking forward to playing around with Sora. I think, for advertising, marketing, even like short films, like, the Pixars of the world, really interesting stuff. Like, we're going to open up that further creativity lens moving forward. So, and like you say, Brent, we're at version 1. Like, and we've seen how fast this technology is going, like agents into Copilot Studio and all of this kind of stuff. Like, if you look back a year ago, I would not have expected, the level of, complexity and rollout and all this kind of stuff. Yeah, who knows where we'll be in 12 months' time, but I think that's what we're going to be talking about today, Scott. Is that right?
Yeah, it is. So let's get into predictions. And for those who are listening in, we did have a bit of a fight on who was going to go first, because like all our good predictions shows, we don't sync up on the predictions before we get on. So we could very well have the same predictions, which adds weight to the prediction, but it also means that whoever goes first gets the best say on that prediction. So I think we're going to go with Nathan first, because Nathan's been very quiet there, sitting in, listening in, and not commenting on intelligent apps. So Nathan, so the question is, we're going to do 2 predictions each on what you think in the next 12 months our channel partners and customers should be thinking about, and what you think is going to drop. So one of them can be, just standard. Yep, that's going to happen. The other one can be a bit fringe, I think, like a bit on the, a bit out there. We'll see, or you can do 2 safe ones and add a third that's a bit out there. I think that's what we did last year. So over to you, mate.
Just trying to figure out if Matt named his dog after LeBron because he likes him or he doesn't like him. It's
kind of funny. Yeah, it just sounded good with the dog. And when I'm walking down the park, everyone's like, "What's your dog's name?" LeBron, and everyone starts laughing. So I'm all about that. So he likes it. So I call him Bronny. He actually doesn't respond to LeBron. He responds to Bronny. So don't tell anyone that. But anyway, all good.
All right. Yeah, so I guess for our partners next year, I'm anticipating they'll be very busy. A lot of the conversation, I guess, with generative AI in particular, a lot of the customers that we've been speaking to, they've kind of been watching and waiting to see what happens in the industry. And I think this year is going to be the year to execute. I think our partners are going to be really busy. Obviously, we've had a few first movers, but, I'd say the vast majority of the customers that I've spoken to have kind of just been in the position of just evaluating, seeing what's happening, seeing where the products and technology are evolving. And then this year is probably going to be where, a lot of that execution is going to happen. So I think first and foremost, the prediction is partners are going to be really busy. From a Power Apps perspective or Power Platform perspective, I think you mentioned it earlier, the intelligent apps, and I know you had Ryan on a couple of podcasts ago. I think obviously there's been a whole bunch of new features shipped that work awesome when you sort of use them in their current state, which is more just to do the tasks that they're designed for. But I think a lot of these pieces of the puzzle will start coming together next year. We spoke about it, the AI to a plan designer, where you can build an end-to-end plan of a business process, and that starts building canvas apps and model-driven apps and automations. That can extend out further. So you basically just describe a business problem and it'll almost build you a solution. And, currently how you have to deal with the platform is it might get you, 40, 30, 40, 50% of the way to your end solution. But in the future, that gap's going to get smaller and smaller, and the less configuration that you need to do based on, how sophisticated the AI models are and these features are evolving. Or I think a lot of these pieces in general start coming together in the new year. They're really excited about what's happening there. But one, if I had to say far-fetched, I don't really think it's far-fetched because it's been around for a while, but I've never really been a fan of it. And that's wearables. So, we've had like HoloLens and products like that in the past, but, I thought coming from a field service background myself, I was actually going to use them from a work perspective. They're a bit too cumbersome and bulky. But you see some of the, Meta is releasing like the cameras inside Ray-Bans and stuff like that, and they're really discreet and sleek. And if we can start to combine that with generative AI to do things like predictive analysis, or if you're out on site and, health and safety is obviously a big one in the field or frontline. So, yeah, I think that the comeback of wearables is probably where I see next year might be an area.
So the Marc Jacob wearable sunnies or something like that with the HoloLens. Yeah, I like it. So I would wear those. I wouldn't be wearing the typical HoloLens, but I'd be strutting around with those things for sure. So, yeah, I like it.
Well, I think the feedback we got, actually, I think the feedback from Telstra was that with HoloLens was exactly what Nathan said, right? You can't wear them on a sunny day. A bit hot, battery life's not great, a bit uncomfortable because they get heavy after a while. So, but the positive feedback was great technology. Love the geo, with caching or whatever it is on, heaps of use cases and all these things. So, Nathan, you could be right. If we can get that in a form factor in glasses where, it's usable and it addresses those three things, we could see the rise of the wearable next year. So, interesting. All right. Well, Nathan, I'll let you choose who goes after you.
I have to go to my other fella from the Hunter region, Brent.
Oh, thanks. I'm glad that the guests can get in first. We've got like the royal treatment today on the podcast, which is good. I've got so many predictions and it was really hard to actually just like wean them all down to two. I think the given one, and it's probably just going to be a caveat, but the AI velocity. So like Nathan talked about, like products are shipping, and I've only been with Microsoft right before the peak of like ChatGPT dropping to the public. So we're using these tools to dev internally at Microsoft, and that's only going to get faster. So the AI dev velocity is just going to get faster and faster. So it's kind of hard to keep up these days with all the new shipping that's happening from a product perspective. But I think that's going to get a whole lot more in terms of like just more features and more richness coming to our products, which is really cool to see from a product perspective, but really cool to see how customers take that technology and implement it in their organization. So like the HR use case on wearables, that's not HR, but health and safety use case on wearables. Like I've seen my customers in mining and manufacturing already starting to look at not the wearable part, but like having a camera to make sure that people have PPE on from an AI perspective and saying yes, no, and then writing them up on a record, so to speak. So because health and safety is pretty key for them. When I flip over and go into my old marketing manager hat and thinking about where we can go with this from a customer experience perspective, including, customer service, customer insights in all our Dynamics 365 applications, but also employee experience as well. I really see the potential there. And Scotty and I have talked about, where we think, AI as an agent will go from a brick and mortar store. So we're seeing this with Pet Barn at the moment. They've just launched using a chatbot on their website to essentially recommend products based on you having a agentic almost experience with, my dog has got a rash and it's this, and you can upload a photo eventually and it'll tell you that you need to go to it'll access their vet database with their information from a knowledge repository and actually tell you, your dog's got this rash and you should get this cream from Pet Barn. Do you want to order it now? Added to cart. Like, I think those sorts of customer experiences from a brick and mortar perspective and an online world are going to get a whole lot better. And we're going to capture data points based on this. And Scott and I have mentioned, like you have a conversation with that chatbot, that chat is saved to my contact record in their CRM. And we're moving beyond a CRM just being a lead and opportunity sales pipeline funnel. It's more about taking all these interactions that we have from all these different data sources, whether it be transcripts or voice conversations or in-store experiences, and then servicing the marketing material at the right time. So Doug's got a rash. I get the cream. I can get sent care tips in an email as a follow-up, for example, and just building on that relationship of Pet Barn and me as an individual. I see a lot of that coming in the next 12 months, which is really exciting from a marketing standpoint. I get really G'd up about that and talk to the customers about it all the time because it's starting to be a really crazy like space, but the world is opening up, and I think the more the customers embrace this, like the further ahead they'll be from a competitive standpoint.
It's interesting you say that, Brent, because you and I talk all the time about the role of, generative AI, chatbots, and sales and marketing versus customer service. And we've spoken about on this podcast before about how, the contact center is becoming outbound, less inbound. We're going to see that over the next 12 months as people adopt more and more automation in the contact center, which frees up their internal staff to then worry more about sales. But I don't think anyone's really focusing right now on sales and marketing and the role a chatbot can play, right? And to your point, everything is recorded and can be stored in Dataverse or a Fabric data model. So every interaction, you get on there, start talking, you don't realize it's AI and it's having a conversation with you and says, what did you do on the weekend? It was my birthday. Okay, I'll just record that if, you consent. And, that data is really, really valuable because there's no way, like with traditional CRM methods, that the contact center person would be sitting there, collecting all of this data. And it also remembers when it refers back to it. So, I really
like Tim Knox in our team has a really good talk track on this from a contact center perspective. He's like, I call up, more about me. Like having all those attributes like pulled in and your customer more, like you're going to create a better experience, a better customer service, but also outbound marketing using that data as well. Like it goes both ways.
Yeah. So we'll see a lot of that in the next year. So it's a great prediction, I think.
That ties into my prediction.
Well, hang on a minute. Brent's going to choose now. He has to choose between his boss and you. So which way is it going to go, Brent? Which way is it going to go?
Let's talk about how good I am in the team. And no.
I've got beers and a night out.
You did do a shout out to Tim Knox, though.
Beers and a night out.
Shout out to Tim Knox. So he might be next to the potty to talk about all the contact center stuff. Yeah. I'm going to have to go, Matt. Sorry, Scott.
Come on.
Yeah.
That costs you a T-shirt now.
Yeah, that'll cost me something. But yeah,
Nathan, I'll get you a Powertime T-shirt.
It's all good.
Brent, we've got dinner and beers for that. Thank you so much. My first one is we will see the first deployment of an autonomous contact center. So I think that'll be good coming. Hopefully I'll be involved with that because I'm a big fan of CCAS.
Don't stop there. Well, what is the autonomous contact center? You can't just throw that out there without saying.
So we won't be talking to a human. It'll be fully AI infused experience and AI agent and stuff like that. Okay. So it won't be a large scale deployment. It'll be a small contact center. But I can see with the way that's coming, CCAS has a lot of momentum in market. I can definitely see that coming ahead. And like you say, I've been involved in a lot of the presentations with Tim. We had the great J-Lo, Jennifer Lowry on talking about, the Microsoft's contact center. But I think that'll hopefully be readily available, rolled out by the end of the year. And there'll be hopefully a live customer example of that. It's a
do you think there's a specific industry for that one, Matt, that you're probably thinking it's going to pop up first or?
No, I don't have a specific industry yet, but I know that we're seeing a lot of conversations with customers everywhere. I know I probably can't mention too many industries because it might tie back to some conversations that I know about. But I just see it as something that's going to be truly transformational. The business case stacks up, all of that kind of stuff. I'm going to see that as part of it. That also leads me into another sort of mini prediction would be instead of quick forms and stuff like that, I think more voice-based solutions will come out. Imagine you're walking the streets of George Street or you're walking between a meeting, something like that. Being able to communicate with your AirPods, I need to fill out a HR request, yada, yada, yada. I think more solutions will come related to that. We're so used to having to fill in a form, fill in an application, and who hasn't been hit by a car trying to cross the road when you're trying to reply to something like that? I think that might come to light a bit more when you're walking from meeting to meeting, not in the office, then you can defer to the standard form. But I think as you're moving in the car, stuff like that, I think there'll be more solutions related to that. And that's where I think voice will become really key. So it's not a bad prediction. And my out there prediction is there's going to be something next year that none of us have any idea about. Yeah, there'll be something just will drop from the sky and we'll have no idea, it hasn't spoken about, we haven't thought about it yet. That's a good one.
That's not a prediction.
I gave you two already.
Just a statement.
Drones over New Jersey.
It's a conspiracy theory. I don't know.
Line in the sand. Something specific.
Would you guys think of Plan Designer this time last year? Would you guys think of all these agentic experiences? Something's going to come and we're just going to go, holy crap. Basically, we did not see that coming. Yeah.
Also,
Yeah.
I reckon that there's been so much stuff that's dropped over the last 12 months.
Yeah.
And it seems pretty far-fetched to what we would have imagined 12 months ago. I'm 100%.
Yeah.
There'll be something. There'll be
AI
something.
velocity.
We
there'll be
can't-
something.
How about this? We can't predict the prediction is my out there prediction. All right. Does that make sense? You see what I'm doing there? We can't actually predict it. All right. It's going to be something that none of us know about. So
Especially if things like quantum gets up, then it's going to happen.
Well, did you guys see the Google quantum announcement this week? So Google apparently solved an algorithm that would take 10 septillion years. So what's that? 10 to the power of, I don't know, 10. So it's 10 million years, I think is what that is. But anyway, I'm sure someone will leave some comments somewhere and prove me wrong. But 10 septillion years to solve with traditional computing. There's a massive, right? So we had, this year, we had 3 massive announcements, right? I don't think anyone's even thinking about this, right? We had the chip manufacturer for quantum in Australia, right? So they were able to create quantum chips, which help with error correction. Then we had Microsoft announcing there was going to be a simulator and an ability to be able to understand how many qubits we needed to solve some of the most complex problems in the world. And I think it was around 1 million to do with the error correction. And then we had actually probably 4, because then Microsoft also announced that they'd solved a lot of those problems and they were going to productize quantum soon, which probably goes into one of my predictions. And then you've got Google just solving this massive problem last week, which was huge, right? So, quantum, it's coming. It's coming, and when quantum meets AI, that's when we get, I don't know what we get, but we get something really smart. So, yeah.
Yeah, see, my prediction. We got it right. So,
exactly.
But on that, I was watching the All In podcast, and they're saying, Chamath was saying in 2 to 5 years that quantum can actually crack Bitcoin wallets and stuff like that.
Yeah. So that's true.
Yeah.
It can actually break the internet. So the standard encryption that we have today can crack that pretty quickly. So So one of the first tasks of quantum is to create a quantum certificate, which can never be cracked. So they have to fix that problem before the other one. So there you go.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, interesting. What else you got, mate?
All right,
Is that
Scott.
you done?
I got 3 great predictions, mate. So I think we'll visit this at the end of the year. But lucky last, Scott. I'm eagerly waiting, anticipating your predictions. Yeah. Come on, mate. What have you got for us?
So I'm going to take you back to our predictions at the start of the year, which was they're not only the predictions that you and I just spoke about in the podcast, but it's also how I set up my whole team for the year and what I talked to my team about, which was CCAS is going to emerge. Copilot Studio is going to be big. We said one big customer, that's CBA. And then we talked about intelligent applications and power and things like this, and where that's going to end. The agentic experience, I think, was kind of what we were talking about earlier in the year. So we've seen all that this year, right? So I think next year is going to be really interesting because we're moving from a world where AI is experimental to customers now going, show me the return on investment, show me the use case, and let's really lean into it. So it's kind of like a maturity model. So that puts a lot of pressure on people because before, if we were going to go sell PTU or sell something, customer go, yeah, I need to be an AI. I'm just going to go get that. Now it's like, I'm going to turn it off if you can't find a use case. So one of my predictions next year is that we're going to be solving a lot of business problems with actual real business cases for AI. And we're going to see really mature things like what we saw with the Pet Barn AI just launching in web-based applications. And we'll also see generations of applications created with AI. So what I mean by that is a lot more dev applications and things like this created. I think if we fast forward to this time next year, we'll see that there'll be dedicated tooling around how to go and create a web-based application similar to Planner with dev tools. That kind of, I think, makes sense to go down that path. So what that means for SaaS providers is they've got to watch out. So if you have a SaaS application that does something, a simple CRM, I believe by the end of next year, you'll be able to go to some sort of dev tool and go create me a CRM. Here's a video recording of my process. Here's an outline of my process. Here's what I want the UI to look like. Here's how many users it's for. Here's the platform I want it to go on, and it will just go and code that for you and get you 80%, 90% of the way there. Now, Power Platform should also get there, I think. I think by the end of next year, planners kind of hooking into applications and we're doing the same thing, go create a Power App to do these things. But that's going to be really interesting. So if we're in a world where, we can talk about a business process or talk about a business problem we have, get in a room, whiteboard it, and then a week later create the application to actually service that need, that's a really interesting place to be, right? That's innovation at a speed we've never seen before. So so how we manage that, how we govern it, secure it, all that kind of stuff's going to be really critical next year. So I think we'll see the era of the AI kind of landing zone and how security and governance works at scale as people really lean into that stuff. So I guess for my fringe one out there is, I think we're really close to quantum. I think we're closer than what anyone realizes. That's my gut feel. Looking at the way things are moving around at the globe right now, the way that quantum's centralizing back to America and other countries, and the investment that the Australian government's put into an American company around quantum, I think we're close. We're really close. So, and what Google announced this week, and if quantum drops, to your point, Matt and Nathan, we're going to see stuff that we never thought possible before. So, that's going to be a really exciting time. Well, I think that's a bit more specific on how that would happen, but yeah. Really
pulled
specific.
me out on it and then brought it up as a great prediction. So, no, I agree with you, mate. And quantum is in the news big time at the moment, so I agree. It's normally a sign about, where we're at. They're starting to push it out a bit more. So, yeah, I can definitely see it. So,
and, to productize that stuff and solve some of the problems. And for those on the call who might be listening to the podcast or watching us on YouTube, if we drop it on YouTube, quantum solves so many things. So it solves a lot of cancers. It solves quantum physics for us. It in theory solves wormhole kind of travel. Are we a simulated environment? Those kind of big questions that people ask. How to travel at the speed of the light, the speed the light's traveling at, I should say, if I can get it out. All of these kind of things it really solves for world hunger, because we can, in theory, you talk about cold fusion, solve energy problems. Like, it really is, something that has a lot of promise. But we might also see the end of the large language model as far as, getting smarter too, because I think in November we run out of internet. So as in training data. So
Ilya did have a hard time with that with Gronk and like all these GPUs that he's trying
with Grok.
Grok. Yeah. I think that's going to be an interesting one to watch this space.
So Ilya did a really good chat on this last week on another podcast where he spoke about, it's just going to change how we train these large language models. May not be big volume data anymore, it might be synthetic data, or maybe a different way of developing, the intelligence. Maybe it trains itself, all sorts of different methodologies. That's really interesting what Elon's done. So he's been able to connect 100,000 H200s together, where previously even Sam said that only 32,000 was possible. Even NVIDIA said there was only 32,000 possible. So to get to 100,000 means that Grok will be the smartest AI on the planet by March next year, if that theory stacks up. So that's something to watch next year as well. What does that mean?
We're trying. We're working.
I'll ask him on the weekend when he's over on a barbecue.
I just keep mentioning him on Twitter, like X. So I just keep mentioning him until he comes on X.
I think there's a few other like predictions that like I have, and I think like a key one, and we're like think to keep on top of everything, like learning, like continual development, growth mindset. I think that's key. Like if you're in the industry, it's been a wild ride already. Like you're going to need to keep reading the doco, processing the information, using the large language models to learn more. Like I think like that's the biggest thing that I've taken in 2 years with using like GPT is like just the ability for it to process information and feed it back to me in a way that I actually understand. So I've used it to like help me build Power Pages and portals and write that JavaScript that I don't understand. Like it's done that for me. Like I think that's going to be like really key moving forward. It's only going to get better as well, obviously, but I think that's another key one for the listeners on the pod to really absorb and get stuck into with the learning on it. And I know Scott and I have talked, like I'm taking a whole year to kind of upskill on like everything almost, like just pause like what I'm doing at the moment for a little bit and just focus on learning and personal growth.
Honestly, I'm doing the same. Big focus of me over the Christmas break.
Yeah, if you are a Power Apps developer, you'll want to know Copilot Studio is deep next year.
Oh, yeah.
That is the money opportunity next year for our partners. Yeah.
And I think that's like we're partners at the moment. Like there's a few that are doing stuff, but it's different to go from a CRM partner to an agent and a natural language partner. Like, and that's AI is the new UI. We keep talking about this, like, but it's really coming and it's at the forefront. And it's very different to build a CRM with a data model than just type to an agent that's going to build you a data model and build you a UI and build you the chatbot experience and the automations and the workflows. Like, it's a totally different way of actually, developing, really, in my opinion.
I think conversational AI is the new, a lot of user cases when I speak to customers, a lot of user cases that 12 months ago were an app for the same user case and now conversational AI opportunity. And I think just in general, 80% of my conversations with customers at the moment are Copilot Studio compared to, the rest of Power Platform. And I've got a really big soft spot for Power Apps and Automate because, I've been using it. So, look, I can't say entirely happy that, pretty much everything's Copilot Studio at the moment, but that is the way of the future and that's the way it's going to be. So I think that we need to upskill and we need to help our customers do it the right way.
I heard a stat at the AI tour, and maybe you boys can correct me on this, but was it Judson that said that 60% of all apps will be programmed using natural language, but within the next 2 years?
Yeah, I think he said that on stage,
Yeah, we're actually abstracting, from our traditional programming language to natural language and letting the language model do the coding. That was an interesting stat. But yeah, you're right, Nathan. That's where it is shifting, right? But it will kind of shift back. I mean, we've got the year of agents coming as well. I did predict that in the last podcast, and Matt said that it wasn't out there enough. But we are going to see like.
That one's
Thanks, mate. Thanks. We are going to see. Hey, shout out to Stevie if he's listening. We are going to see like a flood of agents, right? Like I think next year we're going to have an agent for everything. It's just going to. It's just going to go nuts, right? So I think if you're a channel partner out there listening, creating 10 agents and having a kit bag of agents to go to customers will be really important as well. I mean, I've already been on my first call today where a customer after the AI tour, a big customer in Australia, wants to see agents on the private preview before they've been released. So, there you go. We're already getting the request for it. So.
To Nathan's point as well, I'm the same. All I'm seeing is Copilot Studio at the moment, not strips and drabs of Power Apps, Power Plat stuff. But I think the way we learn how to build intelligent experiences, we'll learn how to intertwine all of those technologies in the Power Platform moving forward. I just think everyone's so fixated on Copilot Studio, you can do this and this and this. I think some of the solutions next year, infusing all of these different experiences together, I think like you said, Scott, it'll shift back to be sort of a middle ground moving forward. But because we don't know how to build the stuff end-to-end, complete experience using all these tools, it's still quite new. So I think there'll be solutions now that we wouldn't have thought of, in the next 3 to 6 months. That's another prediction, by the way. There you go. So I'll give you another one. So
you're kind of right there, Matt. Like it's like UX UI, but like including this new channel, which is agents, into the mix of everything. Yeah.
We don't know yet. We're just like, we're so fixated on agents. We're so fixated on Studio. Here's an app and a form. And this is what Ryan was talking about as well. How do you build these end-to-end intelligent experiences? Yeah. So the way we think about designing apps and solutions and experiences is changing as we know. And it's going to get smarter, better, more efficient, more creative experiences.
Well, we also don't fully understand what the end user is going to think about this world, right? Like in the tech world, all of us go, that's just chat. That's a chat user interface from now on. That's how you do your annual leave. Then you can have a much better experience than a Power App could ever deliver, right? Or a dev app. But you put that in front of an end user. How many times have we done that in this industry? You put it in front of an end user and they go, I don't want to chat. I want to point and click. Give me a button to select. Right?
I had the best experience of this.
I don't even know what to
say.
Give me Lotus Notes. Lotus Notes form.
The best experience of this on the weekend, and I admit, like all four of us, we're pretty ingrained in the tech industry. We're up to date with the common things that are all happening, the latest and greatest bleeding edge. And I went to a barbecue with... shout out to the Edsers. Went to a family barbecue with my family Edsers, and I showed them ChatGPT and like all the cool stuff, and then Sora, and they were just sitting there like nothing like to do in this industry. One's a nurse, one's in HR and the other one's spray paints like helmets for the V8s. Like crazy stuff. And they've never seen this stuff before. And they're just standing there going, what is this, Brent? What do you show? Like, it was like I was an alien from a different planet showing them this cutting edge stuff. And I think that's something that we need to like keep at the front of our minds as well in the industry, is like you need
adoption.
Adoption and change management is like not going anywhere in this space.
That's
probably going to pick up. Yeah.
The perfect world for me would be, if I logged onto a website and I had an issue and I wanted to go through a process, is I just had, a minimal amount of buttons that I had to press to kick it off. And then it knew everything else about me that it needed to know without having to fill out anything or without having to type into a chatbot or do any of that kind of stuff. That experience could be through a Power App, and you could have a headless agent that does all the automation and fancy stuff in the background. It doesn't need to be, a chatbot that you actually interact with. But for me personally, I just want to do as little as possible. Maybe it's because I'm lazy, whatever, but I press a button and it just figures it out and, it doesn't ask me.
It reads my mind.
Yeah,
we have our own personal agents that are doing all of this kind of, I need to book dinner. Here's what I'm thinking tonight, go book the dinner based on all these profile preferences, stuff like that. It knows who we are. Yeah. So I think that's, I agree. I'm lazy, so Nathan. So,
universal profile. We kind of need a universal profile that we share amongst chat engines, almost like seed the data. So people know, so they can, you go to your hairdresser to get your haircut, they can just hit ChatGPT. Who's Scott? What does he like?
It's getting into like a Black Mirror episode with some of these predictions. My agent online will book Scotty and I steaks next week when he's in Sydney.
It knows.
Oh, yeah. I mean, how good would that
be?
How good would that be? Like if you had a CRM that just hit this podcast, listened to it, and then went, Scott and Brent like steak. Here's a $10 voucher or a $$20 voucher to Chop House next week, right?
Like I think,
I got the $50 voucher.
Scott's looking for a sponsor.
You know what I mean? Like, I mean, that's the kind of world that we can foresee now. It's really interesting because Dataverse becomes like the king now because it's less about, it used to be about the UI and CRM. I want to collect all this information about customer 360. Now it's like, well, the bots, the agents are collecting all this data. We don't kind of need the UI. What we need more importantly is a central database to connect to everything too. So it's back to platform, which is what we said to Ryan, right? The platform is king and you need the consent.
And even Justin was like talking about this last week when he was in town, and it was really cool to see where he thinks Power Pages is going and that sort of stuff that we probably can't talk about here, but there's some cool stuff coming down the pipe, which looks awesome and sounds great.
Matt trying so hard to get information out of me about that Justin meeting too.
He's media trained too well.
Yes.
All good. Talking about Justin, my Philadelphia Eagles beat his Pittsburgh Steelers as well. So shout out to Justin for that and shout out to the Philadelphia Eagles for winning. So I'm a massive Philadelphia Eagles fan. We're very, very happy watching that game. It was very good. So yeah.
Awesome. Any final thoughts before we close up on our predictions and close up for the end of this year? And super excited about our next podcast, which is hopefully going to be Julie Strauss on Project Sophia. So if anyone understands what that is, if you don't know what that is, just go Google it and have a look. But it is the next agentic experience for our platform. So, but any final thoughts from anyone?
I think we should have a bit of a bet. Who gets the most predictions right? Everybody owes them a dinner or a few drinks or something.
Dinner at the Chop House. I'm a big fan of the Chop House, man. Yeah. I'm still recovering from that tomahawk that we ate. It was massive.
That was a big steak. That was a big steak.
Could hardly sleep.
Yeah. Matt's not in line because he basically said that he's covered a cast a wide net. He's just said anything that Avalon predicts is Mark.
I'm already alive.
Anything new? Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, let's
smarter, not harder. All right.
All right. Yeah. This time next year, we'll do another predictions show, and what we'll do is we'll reference this show, and whoever gets the most amount of predictions right doesn't have to pay for the steak.
Scott's agent will book them dinner and that, and then we'll sort it out that way. One of our agents will book dinner, and then it'll know. We'll load this podcast in, and it'll know. It'll give us a prediction. It'll book the dinner. It'll be away we go. So. No.
I tell you what, the first company that gets quantum right, just quietly, if they go public, you might want to put $10 on it.
Yeah,
just
we've done a
quietly.
bit more than that, I reckon. So
We need the disclaimer now. This isn't financial advice, and like we're not professionals.
it's not. No.
Don't listen to our investment opportunities that we have for you. Like, yeah,
I was talking about meme coins at the last
I'll move
podcast
the $800 bucks.
So, yeah.
I'll move the $800 from the Dogecoin onto the quantum, whatever.
just pivot investment strategy, Scott.
It's very savvy, savvy.
Isn't Elon's new role under Trump the acronym for it's Doge?
Doge, yeah.
Right.
Because Doge is his coin, and
No.
So,
I guess some final thoughts from me. I just thanks everyone for listening. Thanks to guys and all our guests throughout the year. I guess Scott and me have had a blast. So I think this is the final episode for the year. Scott, is that right? Or are we launching this?
Yeah, given it's so middle of December now, it'd be kind of hard for us to get another one out. So
just thanks to everyone. We had a blast doing it. Had fun with these guests. I love these little side chats as well that we've got going with the two boys on the call today. But looking forward to bringing you more content, more guests, more insights, more technical discussions, and obviously more banter as well. That's what we want to do. We want to have fun, and we want to bring you some laughs and bring you some good tech insights. So thanks everyone for the support and the feedback and everything like that. Me and Scott really appreciate it. So, yeah.
I just got to say, guys, from an avid listener point of view, like you guys are killing it, and it's awesome, and it's come a long way. And Scott's taken on my microphone advice, which is good to see. Like he's up the gear, the headphones. Yeah, they're probably a bit too big, but I think like it's come a long way from like when you guys started, and I think it's really good. The guests you've got on, the caliber. I think I said to you, Scott, like on the last one with Ryan Cunningham, I was like, great. Like who's next? Like let's do it. Like go for it. Reach for the stars. And it's good. And thanks for having us as well. Like it's good to open this up to people in the community and other MVPs and product team that have been on here. It's awesome.
Yeah, no, awesome. Thanks for the feedback, Brent. And the intention is now that Matt and I kind of got our heads around how to be audio engineers. Brent is an actual audio engineer, so it makes it a bit easier for him. The intent is to open up every second episode to guest speakers, but people from the local community that have a bit more of a finger of the Australian and New Zealand market. So that way it's a bit more relevant for people. So this is kind of the first foray into that, which is awesome. So any last words there, Mr. Backers, before we close it off?
No, well done on the podcast. It's a great listen. Happy holidays to yourself and Matt, and of course, Brent. Sure that we'll catch up for a few frothies before the end of the year, but
the Newcastle office will thrive.
Boys, I'm in Sydney soon. It's January, so we'll be catching up more in person, which I'm personally looking forward to. So it'll be good fun catching up with you boys.
Myself and Brent are one of the few people that live in the Newcastle region that work for Microsoft. So when we need to catch up and de-stress and talk about work, we're closest to one another. But I really appreciate having me on. Chat again this time next year, if not before.
Awesome. Thanks, Nathan. Yeah. And I'm going to
I'm not a Ben man, but if I was.
I'm going to echo what Matt said. Thanks to all our listeners. It's been a fantastic year. We've had huge success on the podcast, a lot of traction particularly in the US. We've got a lot of guests lined up for next year already. So guest lineups have been pretty good. So hopefully everyone gets a bit of value out of these. And if you do, click follow or even better, share or leave a review. All those things are very welcomed for us and gets us a little bit more traction, because our biggest problem in the podcast is reach. How do we get more people to kind of listen to it and get value out of it? So you can definitely help us out if you just share or send it around to your friends and family. And remember, Matt's mum listens in, so everyone is a listener. So
that's why I don't swear on the podcast. So there we go. I'm more best behaviour. So got to keep my mum and Nana happy. So all good.
Yes. All right. Thanks all. Awesome. Have a fantastic Christmas and New Year to our listeners, and we will see you early next year on the pod again, which will be video.
Cool.
Welcome to Powertime.
Personal opinions and not those of Microsoft or any other organisation. If you're enjoying the show, we'd be thrilled if you could hit that follow button and leave us a review. Your support means the world and helps us keep bringing you great content.